Warning. Every one of you listening to my voice, tell the world. Tell this to everybody wherever they are. Watch the skies everywhere. Keep looking. Keep watching the skies.
Welcome to UFO Max, your Wednesday hump day
Whoop,
UFO
whoop.
channel. What's up, Lee, man? How you been?
Oh, man. I've been awesome.
That's good.
I have been working my butt off just like you have. I'm telling you.
Tell me about it. This is, it's been a long day, but I'm actually happy to be here because it was an eventful day. And thank you, everybody that's joining the show. Race fan, good job. It's good to see you, my man. First place. Kitty Cattywack in second. See, we got Sierra Sorcery. I kind of like that. That's cool. Rolls off the tongue. Sierra Sorcery. Welcome. Mel WD. Good seeing you, my friend. Scrolling on down. Let's see who else we got in here. The Jaquetta. Good seeing you as well. All right.
I saw Lars on here.
Did you?
I did.
I'm getting down there. Somewhere. Let's see. I see you. Oh, Lars is here. Janssen.
Yeah.
Yep. Good morning to you. Well, it's evening for us, but yeah, or for me at least. And then Frankie B, always good seeing you. All right, Kathy Evans, welcome back. Kurt M, good seeing you as well. Undead Jed, always good seeing you. Jessica Davenport, welcome. Hello. All right, so we got an interesting day today, folks. We were going to talk about whistleblowers and how they're coming out every day. In fact, there's more and more in the woodworks we're hearing. And then something popped up today. Kurt M, good seeing you. Let's see. I don't know. I know you heard about it, Lee.
Oh boy, did I. And it was because you sent me a text, actually.
Oh, yeah. So today on Joe Rogan's podcast, Anna Paulina Luna went on to the show. Immediately, I changed my mind on what we were talking about today.
That's for sure.
And literally 1 second into the show, I mean, after, you go through the intro and all that with them, he literally goes right into it. And he says, so what'd you think about the whole UFO thing before you got in office? And she had said, so I actually had, and this is, verbatim, when I was stationed in Portland Air National Guard, my job there was an airfield manager, had interface and work with a lot of F-15 pilots. So this F-15, the F-15 pilot reported in what they call an airspace incursion. The pilot was reluctant to talk about it and described an object that couldn't be identified and had outperformed their jet, leading to Anna to believe it was a UAP.
Yeah.
Sound familiar?
Yeah.
This stuff is happening to all of our pilots all the time. And even the most famous one, when Commander David Fravor, talked about it, just filth.
Filth is in the house.
Oh, my Bruderschaft. I love him so much. Thank you for coming in on X. Right on. Anyways, so that was one of the things that led her to finally believe that like she was in this stuff. She was, Air National Guard. She went through it.
Excuse me. But it sounds like that she's been interested in this phenomena for a long time, though, before she even got into the military.
Yeah, she'd done this quite a bit before, and of course, when she was asking them about it, this is a quote: we can't really talk about it. And she also said no one really wanted to address it, which is what we're leaning towards today. Like we're having that same problem. Now I got to put this up here. There we go. Hold on. Yeah. I love you, my man. He's the best. And so they went on to talk about this, and that led her into basically going out in the field. And especially when she came into Congress, she really started the hunt and trying to get people in skiffs. And she had a conversation with them for quite a while. I think it was a little over 2 hours a day. And there you go, my man. All right. So the next bullet point, this is her early beliefs, the influence of pulp culture. She mentioned that she grew up with, and I hate to say this, but X-Files and Independence Day.
Right.
Ultimately shaped her perspective to be open to the possibility that humans aren't alone. So honestly, even when asked multiple times, there was things that she cannot talk about.
Right.
But I want everybody to go check this out. She was very definitive in her answers, and to the point where she's like, I won't answer that, but I'll let you, was it furl it out by yourself?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. And this is somebody that's in our Congress that is probably the black sheep of Congress right now.
Yeah. She said she could answer Joe's questions without answering his questions, which was a really interesting comment.
Yep. Dude, the things that she talked about on there, it made you pause. You're like, hold on, wait a second,
Yeah.
And of course, now we know that the FBI is what she was talking about within, because as she started mentioning them, how they were really helping out, including the CIA. She was like, yeah, they're working with us. They're begrudgingly, they're working with us, and evidently they're being nice about it, which would be great. She also talked on formation of a task force. She explained that the task force was formed after an event at Eglin Air Force Base. They, along with Representative Matt Gaetz and Tim Burchett, responded to allegations from multiple Air Force pilots that the Air Force was covering up UAP incidents. This is common. That's kind of common knowledge.
Right.
Oh gosh. I think everybody would agree with that. But she is married with a kid.
With a kid.
Which she will pack up in a car and leave to go get in a skiff.
Right.
With that kid and be like, sit out here. I got some business to take care of. She did actually say that she did that once.
Yeah.
All right. So there was military pushback. Major point of her frustration is the military's resistance to share information with Congress. She states that they were denied access to information even by high-level officials at the Pentagon and the Secretary of Defense under the pretense that they didn't have the necessary security clearance for a special access program, which is actually when she went there to talk to him. She had to get there too. And I think her husband was there. She views this as a significant problem, as Congress is supposed to be the oversight body for the American people. Exactly.
Right.
Like, holy mackerel. And what's crazy is the story of what happened when she went there, and that it was a general of some sort, kept getting pushback on it. And so they pushed harder. And they're like, look, we can do this the easy way, the hard way, or the easy way. And the hard way is I will literally pull you into Congress and have this conversation in front of millions of people, or we can do this now. And then he decided that he was going to leave. So he did an about face, left the office. I think he did say, excuse me for a second, literally got on a plane and left.
That's correct.
And then one of his underlings came in and gave him the information that they needed. But yes, Paul, it is a old story, but still. The deep state, quote unquote, she suggests that a deep state exists on both sides of the political aisle and that its members have a vested interest in keeping this information secret. They claim these individuals will block any legislation, such as one for mass amnesty, that would help with disclosure. Why would you think that would happen? Why do you think they don't want this out and they don't want the amnesty to come into play?
Well, it seems to me that they want to keep people frightened and scared of coming forward. She was talking about a gentleman in particular coming forward and saying, okay, I want to talk about this. And then when it came time, he skedaddled. He's like, I'm not doing it. And she reached out to him, and he's like, listen, I can't talk about this stuff. I'm just not going to. So, I'm sure this is happening a lot. Somebody gets wind that these guys are coming forward and does basically an arm bar on them, a sidebar arm bar on them, and says, no, you're not going to talk about it because you're going to lose everything that you have worked so hard for.
Yep.
Not to mention, up into the point of, having them suicided. So it's crazy.
And well, and a lot of the times what I think is going on as well is it's not just them, it's their family that's also under duress. So let's get to the nature of UAPs and advanced technology. The beyond human technology is my bullet point. She acknowledges that the U.S. government likely possesses advanced classified technology, possibly housed within defense contracts, which we've heard many times before. However, based on their investigations, she believes some technologies exist that would rival what we know currently with physics. And they kind of went into a little bit of depth on that one. In fact, I was listening to multiple shows today, and the biggest thing is there was a gentleman that's like, we don't even know if the sun is actually doing what we theorize it's doing to light up, space or what's going on around it, especially with our little Earth. And it's kind of rare that we have this many planets around a single sun, and we're still learning physics. We're amateurs in it. We think we know everything, but we do not, especially with everything that we've seen, that we're witnessing with our own eyes. And so there's just we just got a lot of learning to do. But there was evidence and photos. While she couldn't talk about a lot of it, she says that she hasn't personally seen a spaceship or a portal, which I thought was interesting that she used that word.
Mm-hmm.
She stated that she had seen photographic evidence in a secure compartment information facility, also known as a SCIF, that they are very confident. I keep saying they, it's her, that she's very confident I messed up here. That she's very confident shows things. I wrote that. Basically, she's been shown things that were not created by us, by mankind. She also mentions that historical texts dating back to even before Christ have documented similar events, which we all know to be true.
Yep.
Well, I mean, cave paintings, cave art, you can see it on certain hieroglyphs, ancient written texts on papyrus, stone that's carved in the shape of, all these crazy things. Leonardo da Vinci's painting with the spaceships and the guy flying it around. Like, it's just, this has been going on for a long time. It's great to be in this particular environment, though. So then they move on to Secrecy and the rationale behind it. Timothy Man, good seeing you, my friend. So, oh, I love him. Reasons for secrecy. Her and Joe basically discussed the potential motivations for keeping information hidden. And here's, my bullet points of why. So fear and public reaction was one of their biggest ones. The belief among advisors that humanity might not be able to handle it. So we've gone over this 1,000,001 times. When you have a paradigm shift where, let's say, you meet an alien gray, anybody out there that's listening to this, and you meet one, that is going to literally rattle your cage. It wouldn't even surprise me that if something was to happen, we're like, and we have to accept it first. So, like, let's say these whistleblowers are coming out and they're talking about all the things that they're seeing. It has to be accepted before you can really get it to rattle your cage, because they could just be talking and be like, oh, this is what, and you'd be like, and you listen to some propaganda that goes against it, you're like, whatever. And you don't even give it 2 cents of thought.
Right.
But once you actually accept it and bring it into your worldview, and then that's what's going to rattle a lot of people. And
That
I don't
takes
even
a lot of work and a lot of time.
It does. I mean, it would be really interesting if all these whistleblowers are telling 100% accurate truth, and nobody's really accepting it right now because they're holding back so much. So everybody's waiting for that big disclosure, but it's probably already happened. I mean, it really it's already happened. Big disclosure with a D has already happened. When you have these people that are saying, this is what I've seen, we have, non-human intelligence, biologics, retrieval programs, and they're telling 100% the truth, you just got to accept it,
Right.
There was religious implications, the belief among advisors that humanity might not be able to, concerns that such a revelations could rock your world, which was quote unquote, and challenge one's faith or understanding of existence. I don't know, honestly, if I believe that one. And the reason why, hear me out. And I don't really touch on anything religious because, I mean, everybody's got their own viewpoints. And I'm just kind of theorizing here. So I'm kind of making this up as I go at the moment. It kind of seems like anybody that is in those religious, backgrounds or has their belief systems has a book of some sort, not going to pick on anybody, and they read that book. And in certain places we were created, but there's nothing stopping whatever higher power you believe in to create something else.
That's correct.
You know what I mean? You can look at it that way. You can still keep your faith. Like, I don't get it.
Right.
Only when it comes to the religious implications. And hear me out, because I don't want to make this about a religion at all. But even when they went to the Vatican was like, oh, no, it's fine. Go ahead. If you want to disclose it, we're good with it. That's because they already know what's going on.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, they've mentioned it before, that they were looking for ET out there, and that, they would go ahead and welcome them into the circle and, try to convert them to believing in Jesus Christ and all of that sort of thing. So,
my goodness. As long as you're paying your tithe. I did not say that. I take that back. That was rude. Financial. Oh, thank you. Financial misappropriation. I'll steer away from this subject now. So she agrees, as well as Rogan does, that points a major reason for secrecy could be a cover-up of the illegal misappropriation of funds for secret programs, as lying to Congress is a serious crime, which we all know to be true. If Lockheed, Northrop, all these private sectors are getting billions of dollars from us, and they have these black budget programs, we talked about this before, and where they're reverse engineering these craft. Of course, these are the people that have the craft. I don't know who would have the bodies, but who cares? We can talk about a technology. Remind me of the technology that can look through the earth. And they're not telling us what they got, and they're misappropriating of funds. That's illegal. We need to know what they're doing. Yes, Paul S4, just like Bob Lazar. But the thing is when it comes to this, you can disclose enough to where you're not giving up all your secrets. Like, where did you go ahead?
I was just thinking to myself, I'm like sitting here going, wait a minute now, if they have this technology, wouldn't there be other people that would want to back the technology and also give money to these programs?
The United States.
Well, besides the United States, I mean,
China's doing it too. They even were talking about that.
Right.
But the thing is whoever perfects it first rules the world. You know what I mean? So yeah, there are vested interests, and it's usually the wealthy, the people that are running the world, which is not all of our governments. I personally believe that, but come to your own conclusion. And when it comes to this, the governments of the world are using the funds of their people to budget for all this. That we call it black budget, and then you get Congress who wasn't told about it, but I'm sure there are people in the government that know about it. It comes from somewhere, misallocation of funds. It's going to go somewhere. So there's people out there that know about it. We're not able to figure out who it is yet.
Well, you see that now with AI too. Same sort of thing. Everybody is going gangbusters on that because they think it's going to rule the world someday, and whoever has that tech is going to rule the world. So
it might.
Yeah,
it really might.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of AI, oh my goodness, we can go on. I can go on for an hour on that stuff. So especially when we get to my next bullet point, energy and industry. And technology. So she suggests that the existence of this technology could change governments' dependence on things like fossil fuel, which some might want to prevent. Obviously, big oil, kind of like big pharma. They want people sick. They want people to use their drugs. They don't want actual real medicine, real world medicine.
Right. No, they don't want cures.
No, they want Band-Aids.
Right.
And they want to sell billions of dollars worth of them. But when it comes to energy, we're running on fossil fuels, nuclear, hydroelectric, whatever. But here's the thing. You just like you brought up the AI. In fact, don't let me forget about that other technology. The AI is, look at it this way. You're doing something on your computer. You're making it work, right? And your computer gets hot because it's consuming energy to give you back something. So information is energy. So then when you turn on an artificial intelligence and you're interacting with it and you're letting it run, and this is also something that they had talked about, you let this thing go, it's consuming more power than soon it'll be than the rest of us combined.
Right.
This is what's going to consume all our power. And then, hopefully our lights don't turn off just to feed this monster. But I don't know. I use AI all the time. So who am I to talk crap about it? They also mentioned Project Blue Book, another old thing, noting that its original intent was to discredit all UFO stories. They point out that even the project's head, J. Allen Hynek, the famous J. Allen Hynek, and his son's out doing podcast now too, which is awesome because he seems like a kind of a chill, laid back dude. J. Allen Hynek eventually became a believer. She suggested the government's history of disinformation campaigns on this topic is a reason to believe there is something to hide. Thank you.
Yeah.
End show. Because that's exactly what's happening. So back to the whistleblowers, which is what we were supposed to talk about tonight. She says or talks about David Grush. David Grush is a key whistleblower, as everybody knows. He reportedly received threats against his life and his wife's life after coming forward, which is what we've been talking about earlier. And she sees a massive smear operation launched against him as a sign that he was telling the truth. So I want everybody to kind of pause there for a minute, because out of everybody that we've listened to, whether, it's some of the other pilots like Commander David Fravor or his wingman, which is a girl, and the NASA scientist that came on just recently, Lou Elizondo, all these whistleblowers, Matthew Brown. Then you have Grush. Grush's whole testimony in front of Congress was probably, besides Matthew Brown is more like, oh crap, like especially the third portion of that interview, it got kind of doom and gloom there at the very end. But then you listen to Grush, for them to do that to him and to do that to his family, and he's telling the truth, that right there is disclosure. He confirmed that we have non-human intelligence, we have craft retrieval, back engineering, and biologics, bodies.
Right. Yeah. Well, disclosure comes in many different sizes, and types. Even with the fact that people are getting blacklisted and they're getting their benefits taken away. I mean, all of that stuff, it is disclosure.
Yep.
It's because they don't want the information out there. So they're doing all of this stuff. And for me, that is disclosure. You can't hide that.
No, you can't. The lies will make it apparent.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, and this actually happened recently. So yesterday, I get up in the morning. My son makes it up before me, and he's got brown. And I look at him. I said, "It's like 7 o'clock in the morning." And I look at him. I'm like, "Have you eaten yet?" And he goes, "No." I'm like, "So you didn't get into the brownies?" And he goes, "No." Okay. So what's all over your face? And he goes, "Maybe just one." Yeah. Evidence is right there, bud.
That's a great analogy. That's awesome. I love it.
Well, that's what they're doing. They're doing the exact same thing. And then, so then she went into what I call the broader implications, which this is kind of fun because she wants to, some of these congressmen and women will hold these positions for absolutely ever. And I mean, some of these people look like they're 109 years old. It's like, whoa, dude, you have been in Congress since Congress was formed. Like, holy crap, it is time to step down. And she discussed that. She's like, I'm not going to do this forever. I'm going to do this for like 10 years. And then I'm going to hand the mantle over. And of course they talked about, Pelosi and everybody making all this tons of money on both sides of the aisle, which we all know is, in fact, if anybody wants to get that app, you can follow Pelosi on all of her transactions in the stock market and set this app up. You put $10 in it and it will just keep putting it wherever. I'd suggest putting more than 10, but it'll follow all of her transactions because of insider knowledge. But anyways, enough about that. So she discusses her efforts to hold government agencies accountable, even using a mechanism called inherent contempt to compel a former attorney general to testify. She believes Congress needs to reassert its authority over these agencies. Yes, I agree with that as well. And then there's a changing stigma. She notes a shift in recent years where the stigma around UAP investigations has lessened. They mentioned, she mentions that they and two other members of Congress were told they would ruin their political careers if they pursued this topic. But she chose to proceed because she feels it is, or was, I put was, but it is important, which makes sense. Like, why not be the black sheep?
Yeah.
I mean, she can get away with it. Do it. Finally, we got somebody in there that's trying to do it.
Right.
With Burchett and everybody else. I mean, there's only a couple of them out there that do that. And then the CIA documents. This one's good. She mentions declassified CIA documents, specifically a program called Stargate, which we all know about, which explores remote viewing and psychological experiments, which is where Rogan goes on and talks about how put off, which is like one of my favorite stories to date, because if I could figure out how to do that, I would literally, I better be quiet. It'd be awesome. We'll just put it that way. But I'm going to tell you, if I could remote view, first place I'm going, the moon.
Yeah. Good point.
100%.
Good point.
Where would you go?
Well, maybe Mars.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, you'll join the rock that's flying by our planet right now, headed towards Mars for some reason. So let's see. Government secrecy and political obstructions. She was talking about opposition to UAP transparency is not a public stance, because most of us actually already agree that there needs to be some, but it's done behind the scenes. by individuals within the intelligence agencies and communities and Congress. She states that making a public position against disclosure would be very damaging to a political career. Also citing an instance where a chairman of the House Intelligence Committee allegedly blocked legislation by Representative Tim Burchett aimed at creating a new UAP reporting procedure for the FAA. She also believed this obstruction is part of a larger effort by a deep state to keep information more secret.
Mm-hmm.
I just want it, dude. This is a great show. You guys got to go out there and watch it. But what's your take on it so far?
Well, you know, one thing that really piqued my interest is when she was talking about the fact that some of these meetings that they have, she's actually kept out of on purpose, which blew my mind away. I'm like, why are they not being all inclusive with a lot of this stuff? You know,
is it because they know she'll tell?
Maybe or maybe that she'll find out some information that she can pass on to somebody. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but yeah, it's not. I keep refreshing my phone here. I'm sorry. I was looking at that the SAR synthetic aperture radar.
Yes. Thank you for coming back to that. See, I had forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad. And you knew exactly what I was talking about. How'd you do that?
Well, it's because I made sure that I was plugging it into my phone when we were talking about it.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, I didn't even say what it was. That's amazing. So here's the deal, people. When it comes to, in fact, do you have the information on it up on hand where you can talk about it?
Yeah, I can talk about it. Yeah.
Let's hear it.
So it's the SAR, the synthetic aperture radar. Basically, this is the satellites that are in orbit that they have that are able to do some sort of a ground penetrating radar, but it's really not exactly that.
No, it's reading the vibrations in the ground.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a natural frequency of the world, but it can't be done in public, like high populated areas.
Right. So what we're talking about is the Schumann resonance, right, of the Earth. That Schumann resonance of the Earth goes through every building and every rock and everything. It's the frequency that the Earth gives off. What's interesting about the Schumann resonance as well is that people exhibit the Schumann resonance, and animals and plants. It's like we're all tied together to the planet. But they're using this by analyzing these radar echoes. The scientists can identify changes in subsurface, such as voids, buried structures, or different layers of soil and rock. This technique has been used to detect tunnels and other underground structures. Okay, just by reading the Schumann resonance of a location.
Whoa, I'm reading about it right now too. Now I'm getting a better idea, and it's on a frequency spectrum of about 7.83 hertz.
Yeah.
Harmonics are around 14, 20, and 26 hertz.
And it does fluctuate too, you know, in amplitude as well as the frequency. So, which is interesting.
So this is the same technology as we go back, and this is kind of where we dive off into. If people think that what we're seeing today is new, it's not.
Right.
We look at our ancient megalithic structures out there.
Yeah.
Let's give the biggest one of all, you know, the Great Pyramids. Okay. They're actually not even the biggest ones, but those are the most notorious ones.
Right.
And so this exact equipment, and he did this in his garage and was able, and he wants to distribute this. Could you imagine the money? And I don't want to say this, the money that we would save from big oil if big oil had that technology and could be like, oh, there's a pocket and there's a pocket. Gold would probably lessen in value because they'd be able to see where those pockets are because of the resonance.
However, there is other techniques that they're using at the same time. They're also using microwave to long range. Yeah. Anyway, it's a technique that uses microwaves to create images of subsurface structures, similar to how medical CT scans work. So think about that massive, huge earthquake that we just had, that 8.8 earthquake, right?
Right.
So if these satellites are in position over key areas that they want to look at during an earthquake like that, they can get a better picture as well of the subsurface, what's below.
That's the implications of this technology is quite astounding, because if they can use this on high active areas, they might be able to see, so to speak, use the data. Oh, here we go.
I got more. My light bulb's coming on here. So think about HARP, and they're bouncing stuff off the ionosphere,
right,
and then back at the ground. Or if they're able to use this technology in multiple different ways, maybe they can use HARP to see what's underground too, just because they're sending those frequencies into the ground in a certain area.
Correct. So, like, if you look at the AI overview and you just type in the Schumann resonance, the thing it says is the Schumann resonance is a set of frequencies of electromagnetic waves in the Earth's atmosphere, primarily generated by lightning strikes and trapped between the Earth's surface and the ionosphere. So these are things that are bouncing around, and these resonances, blah 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 blah. But if
you can narrow a beam down, is what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, I get you now.
But it's funny that we exhibit from our own bodies, and animals and plants do exhibit the Schumann resonance as well, in tune with the frequency of the Earth.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I wonder if we were just to go to the moon and live there long enough, or some other planet, that we would actually start exhibiting that planet's resonance, and it would change us.
Well, I mean, not to get off topic here, but Close Encounters of the Third Kind, when they went to that Serpo, that other planet, and everybody got sick. And one of the reasons they got sick is because everything moves different there. We're already in tune with the frequency of this planet. So what do you think is going to happen when you go somewhere else? You're not in tune with that. So,
well, same thing happens in space. We are not meant to be in space. In fact, let's get a little bit further off topic. we're speaking angels, demons, and gray aliens, and all these crazy things on these shows, right? But there was one show that really got me, and it was a scientist who was talking about the physiology of human bodies. The fact that we're the only creature on this planet, and you can write this away as we have developed brains. We have the ability to use and take an idea and create things, not like a chimpanzee getting a stick and trying to dig termites or ants out of a stump. More than that. Okay. And so we've had the lesser need of fur or anything else to protect us from, what's around us. But we are the only creature on this planet that sunburns. Our time clocks, our internal time clocks, are actually more in tune with Mars.
All right. Is it that considered like our circadian rhythm?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so then you get these ideas from way back, and I'm big into like Earth Ancients. If you want to listen to him, he's awesome. But I'm big on ancient megalithic structures. There's megalithic structures on Mars. Who built those? In fact, there was even talks, even within this, that it might be us from the future coming back, or it could be any number of things.
Yeah, she was talking, Paulina was talking about the fact that these craft could travel interdimensionally, and that whole thing, that's just a soup of possibilities when you're talking about traveling interdimensionally. I always thought that the ETs, the Greys, were from planets outside our solar system, maybe in the Milky Way, maybe further away, but they have the capability of traveling interdimensionally, maybe to phase out so that they're not seen.
I mean, we just heard reports that technology can disintegrate itself.
Yeah.
where the technology itself actually has consciousness. We're verging on the Grant Cameron side of things. You know, when you start looking at a lot of these experiencers that have been flying these ships that he's interested in, because that's who he wants to talk to. I mean, I haven't talked to Grant personally. I do have a common person that is by his side all the time. And I've talked to her many times about this, where consciousness might be the key. In fact, they go off on the Joe Rogan and Anna Luna show about talking about stuff like that. So if you guys want to listen to it, I'm not going to bring it all up because then you get into a lot of the biblical stuff, which is fine. You know, it is what it is. We each have our own belief systems. I call it a belief window. And so it's basically your eyes are your belief window, and everything that you've ran into and experienced in your life changes that belief window. So until you have something that rattles it or even cracks it or shakes it apart, you know, that's when things change for you. Well, in this particular case, when I go back to these ancient structures, and we talk about the human resonance, and not only the resonance, but the tech that this guy used. So when everybody just heard recently about the pillars under the pyramids, okay, that's the technology that was built using stuff that's already in our skies or in space, our satellites. And all he did was just write an algorithm and been, okay, let's read this and see what it does. It's kind of like using, let me put it this way. In fact, I can show you. This is a very nice pinpointer. Okay. You turn it on. Okay. I can come from here. Okay. Now I am affecting, there's a field in here, a magnetic field that this produces, and anything that gets in that field, it's a metal detector is all it is. And so you're basically using that. In fact, metal detector, like I'm big into this stuff, and that's the basic technology, and it's very simple. We don't understand quite how magnetics work, but we understand how to manipulate it. And this technology is able to see through certain substrates, certain matter, quite further actually. When they're like, oh, it's like 20 kilometers down, or however many kilometers it was down there, these pillars, so to speak. Right. He's like, he goes, it depends. Like, it is not 100% fallible, like, or 100% accurate, because there's going to be things underneath the earth that will mess it up. Ice, they don't know if it really works through ice. They do know that they can see water because that's where it stops. You know, and so this, you saw it works from about right here. When I'm in underwater, this goes 20 feet down. When I'm underwater, I have to be right here for it to sign in, and it vibrates as well. So I know I'm pinpointed right at the right spot. And because water will naturally absorb this stuff, so they can see pockets of water. And in fact, that's where the signal, what he was seeing, that there was water underneath the pyramids at a certain level, and he could see it with this new technology. This would be great, man. Now think of it this way, though. If those structures way back when were built by who?
Yeah.
Stargate. When I saw that movie as a kid, I was like, dude.
Right.
Like Epiphany style. He even mentioned that there's more rooms, and the only unfortunate things are the people that are over there, and one of them such was on Hawass.
Oh yeah, Zahi.
Oh god, that guy made a fool of himself. But some people might like him. That's great. It doesn't matter. You can like whoever you want. I'm not going to judge you. But he found more rooms in the pyramid. This structure has more things to release for us. And if people would get out of the way and stop, because I think disclosure, when you got Hal put off with everything that we're doing there, you have societal evolution where, society has evolved where more people are now questioning the information they're given. Why? Because we have phones. There's no longer back in the 50s or even back in the 80s. I was born in 79. Back in the 80s, if you wanted to hear like something happen, it was either the radio, which took a couple of days for you to get the news, or you read it in the paper, which also took a couple of days, and sometimes not even, depending on where you live, like the Appalachian or something, you're not going to hear that news forever. Now everybody got it right in the palm of their hand. They hear it instantly before it even shows up on CNN or whatever you watch, you know?
Right.
So this is what's going on, you know? We got, it's getting overwhelming.
Yeah. It is getting to be just too much stuff going on. And I think that's the way they want it, though, because it just breeds confusion.
It's just so much. I mean, you have 99% trying to keep it secret and 1% trying to want it back. And it's an uphill battle, but we're trying our darndest to keep it going, which is why we're here on the show, which is why Dave Scott's going to be coming on here in a minute. And by the way, for anybody that doesn't know, anybody that's listening to this later on in life, watching the archives, this is Lee Strauss from Element 115. He's on Friday, 8 to 9 Pacific Standard Time. Dave Scott's Monday through Friday, and he's on from 9 to midnight, basically, Pacific Standard Time. And then we have, our after-hour show with Rob G. I'm just some idiot on the radio waves.
Can we go back to the pyramids for a second, please?
Oh, yes, please. Go ahead.
Okay, so I've been doing construction for 32 years, and a lot of the times we'll do pilings and stuff, especially for heavier structures.
Like the
and
ones
depending on
big hammer.
That's a little different. Okay.
Oh,
Okay. What I'm talking about pilings, we'll drill down and there's different types, right? Some are like, I-beams and some are like what they call rigid inclusions, which is basically they drop like quarry spall in there and then they'll hammer the quarry spall down.
Right.
To put underneath a big building so it has some support. And they do that in areas where the soils aren't the greatest, right? So I look at this stuff from the pyramid and say, well, that's what they were doing. They knew that they were going to have all this weight sitting on the sand and to keep it from shifting and sinking because they needed such a flat space, right?
13 square acres.
And they didn't want it to move at all. So it's quite possible what they did is some sort of rigid inclusions to put that pyramid on.
So now that makes sense because back in the day when I was in school, they didn't really teach a lot of that. And then I started getting a hold of books that I actually had to read out of this place called a library. And that's when I really started diving into, these megalithic structures. And I did find out, though, that a lot of people are saying that where those were built was the only location there in Egypt or in Africa, basically, that could hold them because of the bedrock that was there. And so these, and I trust your skills with what you do because I'm friends with you on Facebook and I watch what you do and you work way harder than me. I'm just an idiot with a wrench.
Not. You work more hours than I do, for sure.
That's just because I work for one of my buddies and I own a business, so I gotta. Oh, excuse me. Hold on. That was loud. But yeah, no, that totally makes sense to me. But just the fact that are you serious? Don't do it.
Your eyes are tearing up.
Oh, yeah. If the sun was out, I'd be sneezing all over the place, and I don't normally sneeze. Anyway, back to UFOs and aliens and all this crazy jazz that we all want to know about. The problem is I don't think I used to want to believe that aliens, just like you, were from a different planet, and they came out in these cool ships that could travel at almost the speed of light, and they got here really fast. Well, then I started learning about like E equals MC squared, and then all of a sudden the theory of relativity, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, dude. That means that they left their planet back when we were cavemen just to get here today while we're here. Okay, that doesn't work. So then you start realizing, okay, well, then they have to bend space and time. Well, then we have this guy out of the White House, our, chief of science, saying that we already have the ability to bend space and time. Cool. Or manipulate it, not bend it, manipulate it. Don't quote me. And then you start getting Grant Cameron consciousness and all this stuff, and then it just snowballs to where every single aspect of our life. They even talked about Men in Black, the little cat with the marble, and you look into the marble and it's the whole galaxy of more people in that marble, or the locker. Oh, and watch. Yeah. And so the timekeeper, but we might just be that. I mean, back in the day when we first found germs, where we, a scientist got out there and started looking through, microscopes and found things that were smaller than us, and it just keeps going. It might just keep going the other way too, people.
Oh yeah.
We might literally be in a marble hung around the neck of a cat. Meow.
That's a lot.
It gets overwhelming. I think what's, honestly, in my own opinion, I think what's going on is so much bigger than just nuts and bolts. They talked about interdimensionals. They talked about it. Once you start going down that rabbit hole, it's like, holy mackerel, dude, what are we doing?
We do not have the capability or the understanding or the know-how to fathom our own reality correctly.
No,
I don't think at all.
Well, look at it this way. So are we a 3-dimensional, 4-dimensional, 2-dimensional creature? What would you call us?
We're a 3-dimensional.
And what do we see in?
Possibly 4-dimensional.
No, we can't be 4-dimensional. If we were, that part of us is shut down at the moment, or we're trying to get it back. If you take a 3-dimensional being, so when I hold up a ball, the only thing that lets your brain know that that's a ball is the shading, the light that's bouncing off of it, that lets you know it's a sphere. But if you took the light away and you just looked at it as what it was, or even if the light was facing it completely from your perspective, like the light was behind you, it looks like a circle. We see things actually in 2 dimensions. The fact that we can move and see distance, and we have 2 forward-facing eyes, we're looking at things in 2 dimensions. The way the light hits them lets us think that it's 3 dimensions. Now, 4-dimensional being sees in 3 dimensions, which means that being can actually see that ball for really what it is. All aspects of it.
Yeah,
and
but
it keeps going.
But that also includes time. When you know what I mean? So you're seeing that through time as well as through the 2 dimensions that you would see with the eyes, right?
Yep.
So according to some, we have the ability to go forward in time.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. Like we understand what a tesseract could be, but we can never actually experience what it is.
Yeah.
I like this. Hold on. All that we see or seem is but a dream within a dream. Welcome to exactly what Matthew Brown was talking about. Mandela effects. Don't get me started, Paul. Do not.
Oh my gosh.
Do not get me started. So we only got a couple minutes. Everybody, thank you so much for showing up. We got a couple minutes, so we're just going to go off the books here for a second. My wife, Lee, is a doctor. And I don't know anybody out there, if anybody is listening to this, if you're married to a doctor, you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. They're very linear in thinking. They're very, it's different. I'm very carefree, how I act, how I feel, everything else. That woman is, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her. I love her to death. She's great. But holy mackerel, she is about science. If you cannot prove it, it doesn't exist, right? So she got into the whole, because I watch a lot of videos, listen to a lot of podcasts, especially over what's going on here. The funny thing is I introduced her to the Mandela effect. Oh my gosh. She went ballistic. And the one that got her was Sinbad in Shazam.
Yeah.
And she's like, I watched that. I said, no, you didn't. She goes, yes, I did. I said, so did I. And she goes, then why'd you say I didn't? Because it doesn't exist. Even Sinbad says it. And then I started showing her the proof. She's like, that's bull crap. It was more colorful than that. She was like, no. I'm like, yep. So hold on. You guys are getting away from me here. What was the cat's name in Men in Black? Quick. Somebody get it out there.
No.
You got a couple minutes. Orion. It was Orion. There it is.
I was thinking
good
too.
Job, man. All right. And then we got Truth Wave Energy. Yes, Sinbad. I watched it as well. He was a genie. I remember seeing it. It was very colorful genie pants that looked like hammer pants.
Like purple pants. I remember that. Yeah.
Welcome to the other timeline that we all
remember.
That we all somehow got into.
It's multiple timelines, though.
You know, that's what's crazy. Did you ever go the CERN route? Whew, that one's wild.
I thought about that's one possibility, but apparently this has been happening way before CERN. So,
well, yeah. I mean, you get these deja vu moments, right? And of course, deja vu is much different. So when I was first asked, I forgot who did it. Where is the Statue of Liberty? I'm like, New York. I'm like, okay, like right there in the bay. Okay. What island is on? I'm like, Liberty Island. Like, duh. Right. Well, it's not. I was like, excuse me.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, it's on Nellis Island. And I'm like, or wait, no, I said Nellis Island. He said Liberty Island. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, okay. And it's on the other side of the bridge in the other bay. I was like, wait, what? Like, I completely screwed me up. The Fruit of the Loom one is the one that got me.
that one had me too, because I remember from being a kid.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so Paul's saying multiverse proof. Yes.
Yes.
Could be true. It could be true. And
we're passing through it all the time. In fact, I'd love to get on this subject.
If you
don't have time.
No, we don't. If you ever, we got 2 minutes. If we ever got to the point where you just wanted to have a show to talk about that, we would not we'd have to start the show like 8 hours earlier because it gets stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the cornucopia. I remember it too. It was on my underwear. It was in my little white t-shirts that my mom used to make me wear. They itched because she would put that stuff on them that made them like stiff as a board. Like when she would iron them. Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, she would do that. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this evening on UFOs Max, your Wednesday hump day UFO channel right before Dave Scott. By the way, super chats are always open. It's a great way to help support everything that we do here, especially on Dave Scott Show. Go ahead and jump over there and send him love. Send him as much. If you haven't liked, please. If you haven't subscribe. Go to spacedoutradio.com to check out our swag because we never have ugly swag, folks. Mm-hmm. And thank you so much. And we will see you next week. Promise. I'll be there. I might not be all there, but I'll be there.
Halfway there.
See you guys later.